Well, hello, it's Julian Ryan of J. Ryan Partners, Be Engaged at Work. And again, I have with me.
Yael Zofi of AIM Strategies, Applied Innovative Management.
Thank you. Today's word for me is perspective, of how can we gather fresh perspectives when we feel our group is maybe teetering on conflict. They need to look at a new way of doing things and move away from the way things were in our pre-COVID environment and take all the good learnings, but like I said, gather a new perspective and move on. So any thoughts about shaking things up a little bit and getting people to have a fresh insight when they're getting stuck in what they're hearing and doing?
So first of all, Jules, what do you mean when you say they're getting stuck? Give us an example.
They're hearing examples of, well, we always used to do this, and it's almost like a resistance to change, where they're looking to recreate an environment that is not going to exist for a good bit. The way we used to meet our customers, or the way we used to interact, kind of a wistful, nostalgic view of the past. And it has to do about letting go and letting change happen and seeing where our situation has some valuable opportunities, and also the fact that we need to maybe brainstorm a bit. So not rush into that idea might have some merit, as opposed to no, not going to work. So I think and also we don't have the opportunity right now because we're meeting virtually. It's like we can't take our group out to, not yet anyway, to a park or something to just clear the air or gather new energies from just a new environment. Mm-hmm. So thoughts about that and how we're recreating the virtual environment in new ways to help us solve some behavioral challenges.
Right. So before we get into conflict or misunderstanding, which is a whole topic by itself, I think what you're referring to is letting go. Mm-hmm. And as we know from Change Management 101, we can't accept the new until we let go of the old. Mm. And there is going to be a time, if it's not already, where people are going to talk about life before COVID, mm-hmm. life during COVID, and life after COVID, but really life before and life after. Because there's still this kind of longing for how things used to be. Mm-hmm. And you said a couple of things, we can't take them to the park. Well, why not? Yes, you can. You can take people to the park. I've seen people work out in the park. I've seen people run in the park. You can keep social distance, especially during summer times. And we can't gather. Yes, you can. We can. We can gather through this medium, through Zoom. Just how we gather. What are the ground rules for what we do when we gather? How do we engage and interact? But I think the critical thing is the letting go. Mm-hmm. Letting go is the hardest part right now because we don't want to let go. We want this to be over. We want to wake up from this dream and come back to how things used to be. And right now, the data is showing even after COVID, things will never be how they used to be. Companies are changing some of their ground rules for how we work virtually, for the guidelines, even without COVID. Some companies that have gone fully virtual are considering staying totally virtual. Mm-hmm. And that might mean a change in real estate, in where people are, and a lot of different things. So the key thing at this point as a manager, especially if you're part of the solution, but you're part of the problem, you're also dealing with it yourself, mm-hmm. is to let yourself and your team, give yourself the time to talk about it, to talk about what people are letting go, to talk about the experiences people are having with COVID, to work at the human connection element of it. Now, that sounds very HR oriented, but it's not. It actually is very human. So have a conversation with people during your meeting about what we're letting go of. You know, what is the one thing you miss? Laugh a little bit. Tell stories. have time for people to discuss the potential for misunderstanding and then say, well, what is the solution for that? How do we overcome it? How do we create a different unity? How do we create a different type of team environment? So
So,
that's step one.
so I think the next time we should model our own advice here is we should meet each other since we are not close neighborhood wise, we are many miles away from each other, is to meet each other virtually on our own respective patch of grass and say, rather than looking at the same books and bookcases we've been looking at for months, to show that. So a new perspective by modeling it, and then to curate what people miss and see how we can recreate it in real time and take the value and play it forward.
I'll see you
And
next
so
week
not
at
just
the yard,
Sorry?
virtual yard.
Yeah, virtual yards.
Got you.
So a couple of things to think about, and you can reach us on LinkedIn at J Ryan Partners, Julian Ryan on LinkedIn, of course, and then you.
YaelZofi.com or on LinkedIn, Yael Zofi, YAELZOFI.
And of course, just a quick mind, when we send these videos out, we always have an article attached to it with more practical tips. So until the next time, thank you, be well, and keep thinking about new ways we can handle our new working environment.
Let it go.
Bye-bye. Thanks.